Man, I've been trying to record this podcast for the last 3 days. And each time I record it, I get it wrong. And I'll be like halfway through the pod and I go, that's not a good pod. And I'm not going to put that out. And I was sitting here thinking, what am I doing wrong? Am I forcing it? Am I forcing some of the topics? Am I talking about things because they're relevant right now and I just want to catch the buzz off of it? Or am I talking about stuff that I actually care about? And I talk so much about the process and being a student to the process and living through your process and not always being focused on your results. Obviously, results matter to some degree, but the brilliance is in the basics, and it's important to be thorough in your process. And if you trust your process, if your process is the right process, then the rest of it takes care of itself, right? But before we get into that, we're gonna go, hey, it's the big baby, and I'm back. And so while we're having this conversation about this stuff, and you don't even know what I'm going to talk about, I've tried to hit the Chappelle topic. I tried to hit the Robin Thicke topic, the canceling R. Kelly topic, and then I go, well, it's just not sounding good. I'm not passionately talking about this stuff. I'm not making great jokes about these topics. And I go, this is just not a good podcast. So I'm not going to put it out. So then I'm walking my dog today and I come across, I think I'm listening to Nick Wright give his take on Kyrie Irving. And then I see a compilation of Stephen A giving his take on Kyrie Irving that Royce the 5'9" put together. And I'm like, bro, why does Royce care so much? But at the same time, I'm sitting there like, why does Stephen A care so much? Then I'm like, why does Nick Wright care so much? And then I go, oh my God, I found it. Why do you care? You know, there are things that happen in our lives. There are things that happen around us, and we have opinions about them. I mean, there's not much that I don't encounter that I don't have an opinion about. But a lot of that stuff I could care less about. Like, I could give a, I'm not going to curse this early. What was it? Jay said, I used to give an F, but now I give an F less. Yeah, I just don't care because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my money, and it doesn't affect my loved ones. So if you don't affect me, my money, or my loved ones, why should I care what you're doing? So then I like start to bring all the different topics together that I want to talk about. And I'll tell y'all, sometimes you'll work a topic, you'll work through your notes, and you'll think that that's a 5 to 7 minute segment, or you may think it might be a 10-minute segment. And then you go, oh boy, after I said 1, 2, and 3, I'm at 45 seconds. And we're like, what are you talking about? And sometimes I can feel that as I'm talking because you know me, like I come in here and I talk. And I don't like to have a heavily produced show. Granted, I do my research and I take notes, but I like to comfortably talk about stuff and not necessarily have my notes. Well, Gucci's super comfortable back there. So why do you care? Let me pull up my notes as I talk shit about notes. Let's see. Let's start with Dave Chappelle. Why do you care about Dave Chappelle's special? If you're somebody who was offended by what he said, why do you care? What does it do to you to not consume it? Or what does it do to you to consume it one time and say, that's not for me. I don't want to consume that again. I don't want to consume a person like this. And there have been groups who have called for Netflix to get rid of the special. They're not, because guess what? People are watching it. It's making them money. They got to get their get back for all the money that they've paid Dave Chappelle. So guess what? He's there. There's a funny meme I saw that Little Duval posted saying it's two things that gay people can't cancel. That's Dave Chappelle and Chick-fil-A, because guess what? Y'all get mad at them, but they're still here. Right. And I'm not going to put them in the same category as types of people, because I have my thoughts on the people who run Chick-fil-A. But guess what? If I want some fast food this weekend, I'll be there. I care less. I'm not a moralist. But, like, why do you care about what Dave Chappelle has to say? I mean, because personally, I listened to it and I didn't think that his speech towards the LGBTQ community was hate speech. I think that he was giving a perspective that may not be an accepted perspective, especially in today's society when we can't really disagree anymore, right? There's no such thing as disagreement and forgiveness. It's just like, oh, you're terrible. Damn, you get away from me. So it's like, hey, like, again, why do you care? Because my thing is, if you don't like it, don't consume it. If you think Netflix should get rid of it, then, and they don't, well, then cancel your Netflix subscription. Guess what? You are paying Netflix. And if enough people who are paying Netflix tells Netflix that, hey, I'm going to walk away because of this, I promise you Netflix would change their course of action. But if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So if you're just going to call for Netflix to ban something, but you're going to maintain your Netflix subscription, they don't care, because they're still getting paid. But for you to have the audacity to think that Netflix is just supposed to change because you, an individual, or you, a group, call for that is crazy. Again, you can make the request, but you can't get upset when your request is not filled. I came on here and I talked about people want free speech, but they don't want free responses. Same boss. Because for those who didn't like what Dave had to say, that's fine. You don't have to like it. I'm pretty sure he understood. I'm not pretty sure. I know that he understood that some of you wouldn't like it, because he predicted the response that he would receive for the comments that he made about the LGBTQ plus community. He told us what was going to happen. They were going to say I'm punching down. They're going to say I'm a phobe. I'm this, I'm that. And ultimately, all he was doing was talking about different human experiences. And the biggest thing that I pulled away from that special was, the conversation that he had with his trans friend was, I don't need you to understand me. I just want you to understand that what I'm living is a human experience, because we're all humans and we all experience different things. And there are things that I go through that you will never understand. There are things that you go through that I will never understand. And there are things that the both of us go through that we don't want anyone else to even try to understand, right? And that's okay. And that's what I pulled away from the special. But I'm not going to tell you to pull away the same thing that I pulled away from it. No, because that's where your free thought comes from. That's where your experience, your experience based off of what you have experienced. Oh, that sounds terrible. That's where your baseline comes from, based off of your experience, right? Like, you feel a certain way about things because of what you've experienced already in your life. And I feel a certain way based on what I've experienced. So because of that, you shouldn't feel the same way that I feel. And I shouldn't feel the same way that you feel. And because we're two different people, that's normal. But I feel like we're trying to get to a place where everybody is supposed to feel the same way about the same thing as those around them. And that's not okay. Because once we stop thinking, we become dead. So if you have an issue with what Dave Chappelle said, I mean, that's well within your rights. Have an issue with it. Boycott Dave. Boycott Netflix. Do what you want. But my question would be to you is, why do you care so much? Don't say that he's spewing rhetoric that is hateful, that's inciting hate, because if you listen to what he says, it's not, based on the way I perceived it. Maybe there's some disagreements there. I don't think it's hateful. It may not be the most accepting behavior, but everybody has their prejudices. Yes, you right there. Hey, you sitting on your couch right now, doing nothing. Why don't you come to ICDC? Yeah, you, bro, you have prejudices. And it's okay to have those prejudices. I would just say be honest and upfront with yourself about your prejudices so that those around you understand. But again, if you don't like what Dave is saying, if you don't like what Dave is doing, don't consume it. You don't have to talk about it, because guess what? The more you talk about it, the more the algorithms kick off, right? The more you talk about it, the more people are gonna go watch it to see exactly what he said, and then you're gonna make your money. So when a comedian says something that we don't think is politically correct, that we don't jive with, but he's not directly affecting, like negatively affecting people, if he's not harming people, who cares? And don't say, well, he can incite hate and people can go off and do things based on what he said. Well, look, bad people are going to do bad things. And if you're going to hold a comedian responsible for the actions of someone and not that individual, then that's a whole nother problem. And I can't help you here, not on this podcast. But next thing, like, why do you care? Let's talk about R. Kelly. Why do you care about R. Kelly being a creep? Now, don't take this as me defending R. Kelly, because I think you should care about R. Kelly being a creep. Why? Because what he's doing directly affects people. The young women that he's preyed on, that directly affects them, and that can create a curse, that can create trauma that they may pass down to the next generation. Because based on what I've read, there are things that happened to R. Kelly, which could be responsible for leading him down this road. Again, that is not me excusing it. It's just saying that, hey, this man was a victim of sex crimes, and the way he's, living it is being the same person that someone was to him one day. And that's sick. So how do we break the curse? But then why do you care if I listen to R. Kelly? What does it do to you if I decide to play an R. Kelly song? Does it mean that I support his lifestyle? No, it means I like the music because it sounds good. Does it mean that I don't think that he deserves to have the book thrown at him? No, I never told you how I felt about the person, because the thing is, I don't know the person. I just know what the person's been accused of, what the person's been convicted of. That's all I know. But I know the music, and I know what the music sounds like in my ears, and I know what the music means to me. I know some of the memories that music brings back, because guess what? R. Kelly has one of the best catalogs in music history. He has that. And I was having a conversation about um, R. Kelly not being able to be canceled because his streams apparently have gone up since he went to trial. And the response was, well, what about Chrisette Michelle? And I go, what about her? Who's checking for her? Because the thing is, your talent dictates your tolerance. If you're immensely talented, we tend to tolerate a little bit more from you. And if you're not on that higher end of the spectrum, then you know what? Your tolerance level is a lot lower. So for R. Kelly, whether it's good, whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, I'm not going to get into the morality of consuming his music. But guess what? His music is so damn good that there are people who are intolerant to his lifestyle, but they will continue to play his music. They go, well, man, shit, that song is good. Happy people, yeah. In the back of the club, my mind, yeah. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bit of bump and grind as long as you're of age. Yes, sir. That hits the spot. TP2 is a dope album. 12 plays a dope album. Trapped in a closet. How many of us were not following that saga? Move your body like a snake, ma. You know, like, yeah, he got them bangers. And everybody's not such a moralist that they won't consume the bangers because R. Kelly was banging the children's, which is not okay, which is obviously disgusting. And if you condone his behavior, then I question who you are, and you're not somebody who I want to be around. Where we at? Why do you care about Jon Gruden? Now I came on here and I had some comments about Jon Gruden and you know, him stepping down as the Raiders head coach because of some stuff he shared in some emails. And like, but why do you care about what Jon Gruden thinks? I don't. But I can understand why Mark Davis would care. I can understand why the NFLPA cares. Why? Because he's the coach of a football team. He is a leader. It is his job to lead a football team to victory. It is his job to build out a staff. It is his job to add players to a roster in order to achieve a goal that you know, most players want. They want to win a championship. But when you show yourself to be a racist and a bigot and a misogynist, you know what? Your staff will probably reflect your views. Your player additions, your personnel department will probably reflect your views. You will probably cut a top end NFL punter because you didn't like his style, a la Marquette King, you know? That's why we care about what Jon Gruden says, because I don't think if he's just a retired coach sitting on his couch, we care about this. But because he can directly impact others, he can directly impact those who look like us, he can directly impact people that we know deserve a job, and they would have a job if it were a meritocracy, but they're not in the good old boys club, that they don't get the opportunities that they deserve. That's why we care about Jon Gruden, because what he does affects us. It affects those that we care about. Kyrie. Why do you care about Kyrie get the vaccine? Stephen A., why do you care? Nick Wright, why do you care? Name the other talking head. Why do you care? Now, I can have a passionate stance against his why, but I could give a damn about his what. Kyrie, I don't care what you do. If you don't get vaxxed, it's up to you. If you put yourself in a position to not be able to play basketball and support your team, that is up to you. Now, if I'm KD, if I'm James Harden, we got an issue. You need to get a shot or get shot up out of here, because we're trying to win a championship. But why do you person sitting on their couch right now who doesn't have any money invested in the Brooklyn Nets care about what Kyrie does? It does not affect you. And guess what? If you put in a super early futures bet on the Nets, and now you're upset that Kyrie Irving is not going to could possibly not be there for the season, well, it's just what comes with gambling, man. You putting your money in the hands of other people. You have no control on the result, on the outcome, but they do. But why do y'all care? Like, why is this a multi-time segment on multiple shows? It shouldn't matter to y'all what Kyrie does. And if he chooses to walk away from the NBA, how could you just walk away from almost a $200 million extension? The game of basketball. That's just so disrespectful to those who came before you. Or maybe it ain't that serious to me. I'm super good at it, and that's why I do it. I love to do it, but there are things that are more important to me than basketball. I think so many people in the sports world think that sports is the most important thing in people's lives. And it's like, no, it's the most important thing in your life. But in my life, I have other things that I care way more about than sports. I remember a coach telling us in high school that football has to be our life. It has to be the most important thing for us. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I got a 3.9 GPA right now on a 4-point scale. I, I football is fun. Now, granted, my football career ended after high school, but the fact of the matter, sports people, there's more to life than the sport, even for the high-end people, even for the LeBron Jameses of the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world. Like, they're not just basketball people. Tom Brady just doesn't play football. There's more to life than your occupation or your hobbies. Who's the next person we want to get to? No, we lost our notes page. There we go. 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 Kyrie Herb. Why do you care about Herb? I came on here and shellacked Herb Pearson. I did last week. But why do we actually care? It's one thing to talk about. It's one thing out to a bar and hanging out with the co-eds, getting a little twerk, 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 twerk that ass. What does that do to me and you? If you didn't realize it, nothing. It does absolutely nothing to us. So there's one thing to have comments on it. There's one thing to have an opinion on it, but it's a whole nother thing to be bothered by it. Well, what he did to his wife was disrespectful. Okay. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe they have a relationship that works that way. You're not in their house. So again, why do you care? Lizzo. They call me Big Lizzo. A big Izzo. Like, why do we care so much about what Lizzo does? Now, I'm one who kind of just rides the Lizzo roller coaster because I mean, I'm a troll and she's become subject of my trolling. When she went to the LA Lakers game and she pretty much just had her ass out, I'm like, man, put that away. There's kids here. Not because I have an issue with a larger woman walking around with her ass out. It's that why do you have to have your ass out here? But then they talk about the double standard with her and Rihanna because she wore a similar outfit that to Cardi B's birthday party that Rihanna wore to a award show. And people are like, see this double standard here. Y'all didn't say nothing about Rihanna when she did it, but y'all have an issue with Lizzo doing it. Well, here's the thing, bro. We have preferences. And something can be inappropriate, but if we like you, we can look past it. Think about your friend that you have who sometimes crosses the line, who may say some stuff that you may not be okay with, but you know, but you like them, so you look past it. Well, that's the thing with Lizzo and Rihanna. Well, we look past Rihanna when she has on the mesh, the see-through, because we like Rihanna. More of us like to look at Rihanna. But then when Lizzo does it, she catches hell because there are less people who like to look at Lizzo than there are who like to look at Rihanna. So it's like, oh, well, I don't like her anyway. So let me say, put that away. What about the kids? Bruh, she was at Cardi B's birthday party. Who gives a damn about the kids? If the kids are there, then they already lost, you know? But why do you care? And then I saw a post talking about Lizzo. It's like, people need to stop. Lizzo's beautiful. You need to stop body shaming her. Whoa, 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 whoa. Once you go to somebody is beautiful and then you attack me for attacking their body, that lets me know you are thinking the same thing that you're accusing me of thinking. Because if I talk about somebody not being attractive to me because of the way their body is, I'm not talking about their face. You know, there are girls who used to get this backhanded compliment, and I'm sure there are some who still get it. Oh yeah, you pretty. Yeah, yeah. She a big girl, but she got a nice face. Because see, the thing about the face and the body, they are connected to one another, but they're still two separate entities. I've seen beautiful faces and bad bodies. I've seen bad faces and beautiful bodies. We've all seen different things. So when people go, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful," she's and y'all are just fat shaming. Like, look here, no, I'm not fat shaming you, Lizzo. Do I think you're beautiful? No. If you lost 137 pounds, do you think would I think you're beautiful based on your facial features? No. But weight is not a discriminant for beauty. But I think I've talked too much about Lizzo. But at the end of the day, like, why do y'all care what Lizzo does? Lizzo, why do you care what people have to say about you? I, I saw that Facebook is going to implement this feature that stops people from sexually harassing celebrities in the comments, and I support that. Oh, wrong one. But then I go, how come celebrities are the only people who can get saved from this? Like, why are celebrities the only people who get a chance to be saved from disgusting creeps in the comments? And as I ask that question, I'm sure the answer is going to be crickets, nothing, because we have a society that cares about the top, and I understand what they're going for because I support stopping people from leaving inappropriate comments in our celebrities' comments. I think that's right. Because you don't know what's going on in that person's head. You don't, and we often see that people who take shots at celebrities are only looking for their 15 minutes of fame. So let's do what we can to stop it and preserve their mental health. I support that. But again, bro, like, why do you care about what these celebrities do? It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your day to day. It doesn't affect your bills being paid. So, like, let them cook. And then my last topic on, like, why do you care? Meek Mill's tour bus. Let me see if I can pull up this post, because Meek Mill is under fire because of his album Expensive Pain, and there's some nudity on it. He took a cubist perspective, and I think he was going for some fine art on his album cover. But with that is, naked women bent over, people saying that he's denigrating black women. And so I want to play this one little clip for you all about of this angry man discussing Meek Mill's bus.
This bus that goes by in my neighborhood. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What is this? This is on the side of a bus. This is on the side of a bus rolling through your street. Rolling on the side of your street. Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want? Look at this bull fucking shit. Look at this shit on the side of a bus. Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want? Is this how you...
So my man was going in, right? I mean, he was pissed. And shout out to him for standing up for black women, because black women are often not heard, often not given their just due, often, on just the negative end of so much controversy. And by I mean controversy, they're just on the negative end of mistreatment from men, but especially black men. So when I look at it at first, I think nothing of it because, bro, it's just an album cover. And artists wrap their tour buses with the album cover because they're promoting the album. And then when I see this post, I go, I think we're going a little bit too far with this, man. I think we're searching for something that's not really there. But then I push it out to some people that I trust. Shout out to my ghostwriters. And they bring up some pretty good points. And I go, okay, yeah. I didn't think about this. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then I go back to, well, it's art. And he's expressing his art. And yes, there's nudity here, but have you been to a museum before? Have you seen a sculpture? There's nudity. Now, I don't think you have women bent over with their lips in the air. They're not these lips, them other lips. But you don't see that, but you definitely see the breast. You see the vagina area. You see the men. You see their penises and stuff. You know, and you seen them sculptures. Them should be like, dang, bro, that was going on back in the 1700s. Happy we done grew now. But no, on a serious note, pause if I needed to do that. The point of it is like, are we gonna now police art? Are we gonna police the artist? Because I see what Dave Chappelle's going through, because he's being policed for, or trying to be policed for, what he said, a stand-up special, but he's just having a conversation. He's just giving his perspective. And with the Meek Mill bus, I can understand a little bit more why people are bothered by it being in public. Because, like, what about the kids? But the older and older I get, but what about the kids? What is wrong with a kid being exposed to nudity? Because yes, nudity is oftentimes sexualized, but just because you're nude doesn't mean you're being sexual. And just because you're being clothed doesn't mean you're not being sexual. That's the thing, bro. Like, I've been very sexual and very clothed. And I've been naked as hell laying in my bed, and sex was the last thing on my mind. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your situation. And if, I don't know. I just can't be too outraged by it, because I'm not offended by it. But I also don't have kids. But I'd like to believe that I'd be the type of parent who will expose my kids to things, allow them to learn and to grow, because, that's what life is. Why prolong the inevitable? If there's a way to properly explain it, the kid says, Daddy, what are those? Breasts. Just like you have your chest, son. Yeah, women have breasts. We have breasts too, but we don't call them that. It's the same thing. Pretty much the same general makeup. You have, your tit, then you have your nipple and your areola. But women, they generally have bigger tits. And some of them have some knockers, I'm joking. That's sexualizing it. But the point of the matter is, these are body parts that exist, and they don't have to be sexualized. The woman's been over. Dad, what's that between her legs? It's her vagina. You know how you have a penis and you have a ball sack? Yeah, a woman has a vagina. That's what that is. Like, does really censoring your kids from nudity, like, what is that? Does it really do anything? I don't know. I haven't done the research, but there are studies. But again, why do you care so much? Like, why do you care so much to try to go viral on Instagram, just pointing out black women? Is this what you want here? Is he denigrating black women? The album is called Expensive Pain. So to me, it says that he wants to speak to the pain that he's gone through despite the amount of money that he makes. What if this is a trigger for his expensive pain? What if this is an important experience that he's had that goes in line with his album that he just put out? I don't know. I haven't finished the album. I probably won't finish the album. But the fact of the matter is, we can't police everything. That's like putting up cameras everywhere so that the second you go 3 miles, 7 miles over the speed limit, you get a speeding ticket because the cameras are there. It's like, you cannot police everything. Some things are going to cut through the cracks. And the one thing that I think that we have to stop trying to police is the creators. Because the creators are going to say some of the things that people need to hear so that they can learn. The creators are going to say some stuff. They're going to make a cringe-worthy joke, and you're going to sit there, and you're going to laugh at it. Then you're going to question yourself. You're going to go, oh, am I okay? Am I right? But nonetheless, it creates the opportunity for learning to occur and exist. So, like, did learning occur? Yes. All right, let's move on. Red flags. Apparently, there's this thing on social media going around where we're like putting up these red flags and we're putting quotes like, "Oh, me and my baby mama was never together." Oh, that's a red flag. I don't really get along with girls. That's why I got a bunch of dude friends. Red flag, red flag. Or yeah, I don't really hang out with people my age. I'm more mature. Yeah, okay, please. Red flag, red flag. You're a bridge burner. Or let me think. Let me think of some male red flags. Oh yeah, nah, baby. I don't want to post you because you know how that go. Once you post somebody, then the relationship seems like it just ends. Red flag, red flag, red flag. But here's what I'll say. I think it's very interesting to see how people are putting these out here. But how many of you are actually adhering to these red flags? How many of you see a red flag and then immediately throw up the white flag? I'll be honest with you. It's not me. Sometimes, I just be like, you know what? I see this red. I know I'm looking for green flags, but you know what? I like a little danger. I like a little danger. I like a little danger. I like a little trouble. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna follow the red flag. I'm gonna take my chance. I'm gonna run this red light, and hopefully there's not a camera over this red light to catch me. So as we joke and joke and joke and laugh about this red flags, I'm gonna ask you, bro, are you a red flag? Do you exhibit red flag behavior? And if so, you probably want to work on it. But do you all also find yourself dealing with individuals who you want to be involved with, who you want to be friends with, and then they have a bunch of red flags? And then you see the red flag, and what do you do? Do you run the red light and be like, "Oh, Brian, gonna get this ticket," and maybe you don't get a ticket, and then you do it again, and maybe you don't get a ticket that time. But eventually you're gonna get a ticket, and if you don't pay your ticket and you keep getting tickets, they're gonna suspend your license, and then you're just gonna lose all you had. So be careful with these red flags, because I'm gonna go ahead and I will tell you right now, but I will see a red flag and I'll go, "Where's my white flag? I can't find that. You know what? Fuck it. I don't need my white flag. I'm good." And then you find yourself in a situation like, "Well, man, why did I do this? I knew better. I saw all the warning signs, but I was thinking with my head in between my legs, and not my head in between my shoulders." And then I go, "Damn, another one bites the dust." And then feelings get involved, and we start having some conversations, and it turns into this.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
And that's what we want to avoid. So when you see the red flags, just take off and run for the hills. So for this episode, I had some more things that I could talk about, but I just don't care enough. So let's hit this last one. Prison is cancel culture. So many people, I'm having a conversation, and we're talking about John Gruden being removed from Madden. And it's like, so we're just going to erase this guy from NFL society because of a bad act he made. And my response was, well, what do you think prison is? A person commits a crime, and then they're immediately removed from society. So for those of you who have been upset about cancel culture all this time, what are your thoughts on the criminal justice system? What are your thoughts on prison? What are your thoughts on keeping people locked up before trial and not allowing them to receive bail? You know what I mean? Like, or make bail. What are your thoughts on that stuff? Because if your issue is if you support people being canceled, or if you do not support people being canceled, but you support people being incarcerated, I start to get like Dave Chappelle, and I'm like, well, hold on. What fight are you fighting? Is it the criminal battle, or is it you fit a certain description and you've committed a crime, so we need you to get away from us because we don't want you to taint us? I don't know, but I asked the question because I firmly believe that throwing somebody into jail for multiple months, multiple years, they don't often come back to society a better human being. And one of my friends says, "Well, excuse me, if you have something going for you, jail let you know that you got to get right." And I go, "Well, what if you don't have anything for you? And now you got 3 hots and a cot. And so then you become a repeat offender and you're in and out, and you make it much more difficult for you to elevate yourself because of the time you spent, especially if you got that F on your report card. F stands for felony. Then what do you do? I don't know, but there are so many people who want to stop canceling others, but at the same time, they're out here screaming, lock her up, lock her up. So what's the difference? Well, so and so committed a crime. Well, what is a crime? And I say that because we now tend to believe what we think, believe what we say, as opposed to what the standard is. Because I don't even know if standards exist anymore. Like, what happened to the standards? Well, I don't want to do that, so I shouldn't have to do that. But it doesn't matter what you want to do, like The Rock said. This here is the standard. And currently the standard in this country is that if you commit a crime, if you commit an egregious crime, you will go to prison. And instead of learning how to be a better human being in the functioning working world, you learn how to become a better prisoner. You learn how to become a better criminal because you have to learn how to survive in that environment instead of learning how to prepare yourself for getting back acclimated to normal day-to-day life. But the solution is forgiveness. We have to forgive those who've made mistakes, and we can't hold it against them for the rest of their lives. You can contextualize decisions that they make based on their track record, but you cannot hold these people. You can't hold these people for stuff that they did a long time ago. And I mean, my God, we've all made mistakes. Forgive. I'm not telling you to forgive and forget. I'm just saying to go shout out to the Niblets, rock with them, get some merch, and forgive. Because forgiveness is an important step to moving forward. But until we see our prison system change, until we see the emphasis be on rehabilitation and not hurting people, prison will always be cancel culture. And for those of you who have always been like, oh, I'm anti-cancel culture, but lock her up. No. Cancel culture is nothing new. It's just been hiding in the prisons for all these years.